and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we discuss the latest cryptocurrency news and have a look at the overall market so that you stay informed in the world of Web3. My name is Web3 Spud, and today I'm joined by a very special guest coming from the Superteam UK. That is Cap. Woo woo!
GM.
Show some love to Cap. Ask him some questions in the comments. Let us know what you want us to go through. But Cap, please say hello to our audience. That would be great.
Yeah, hey everyone. Pleasure to be invited on. Thank you, Spud, for bringing me into the lovely Crypto Saving Expert live stream. So I'm the lead of Superteam UK, Solana's new local hub initiative that's been going on the last couple of years. Excited to be able to dive into everything here and to join you guys for a lovely day.
Amazing. Awesome, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the news and then we're going to go back over to Cap. Cap's going to tell us all about super teams, where you guys can get involved, what to look out for. But let's head straight into it, guys. Once again, if you've got any questions for myself or Cap, please ask them in the chat and we'll go through them. Let's head over to the first news story of today. So spot volume on centralized exchanges increased by 60% in November. So on Monday, Wu Blockchain posted an article outlining the centralized exchange data for November and the comparison between October's results. The data showed that the spot volume on centralized exchanges rose 60% month over month, seeing an influx of investors trading on the platforms as Bitcoin continued its year-end rally. And we've seen futures volume up by 44%. So, you know, this is a nice bit of data to look at. It's obviously showing that people are actually going more for spot investment at the moment rather than futures. It's good to see that hopefully sentiment is returning. How have you seen sentiment in the communities, Cap, recently?
Well, it was pretty cool. Last week we had our London Christmas mixer and we had like over 700 people, like mega sort of push, and the vibes there were like very much like, oh, here we go. We were seeing a lot of new faces or like even old faces. It's like people who used to come to the events like a year and a bit ago, now coming back again. So I think that's also like a very cool indicator of like sentiment at the moment. So it's cool to be able to see this data as well and how things are moving.
That's amazing, man. Do you think you would have had those numbers, during the bear market, or is it a complete, testament of where the market sentiment is right now?
I think it's a testament to like the market sentiment at the moment for how things like when things start to everyone, like, you get that little bit of extra excitement in you, and that concept of going out on a Tuesday night becomes more attractive. Like, it's not only is it just because that room hopefully has like more places to network, but you want to network. Like, you want to know, like, oh, I know I need that connection. I need to know these people because I can see things going, and like you start then like almost like shifting your identity back to like, oh no, like I'm in crypto. I'm in this world. I need to be advancing my Web3 network. So events is like the strongest way to do that. So I'm gonna turn up on this Saturday evening to go there and check what's out.
Amazing. Let's head over into the next news story of today, which is surrounding stablecoin settlement exceeds 7 trillion per annum. So a report by Circle has revealed the growth of stablecoins. So here it says, last year, global stablecoin settlement exceeded 7 trillion compared to 14 trillion settled at Visa and MasterCard, the report revealed. This brings a smile to my face to see that, stablecoins are competing with the likes of Visa and MasterCard. Really bullish on this for myself, guys. It says here 51% of Latin American consumers have used digital currency. This brings me on to a question for you, Cap. I know you're with Superteam UK, but we have a lot of our audience will be from abroad here. Where can they find what other super teams are there around the world?
Yeah, there's 9 super teams at the moment, and we're going to be expanding out to more coming into next year. So it started off in India. So that's where like the kind of like largest community is based at the moment. Then it went to Vietnam, Mexico, Turkey, Germany. Then we had like the UK, UAE, Nigeria. We're now going into Brazil and Israel, like having like all of these other like hubs being set up. The process is quite interesting. in terms of there's like sometimes usually a little pop-up first, and then the
Yeah.
pop-up that goes well, it then expands into that full super team going forward. So like that's what happened with Nigeria recently over the summer. Their pop-up worked really well. The team in Zubi there did an amazing job of like being able to like bring together and uplift that community, and now they're expanding into that full-blown super team. And so
Wow.
where that's like the plan. So hopefully you'll see a lot more start to pop up. We even did like a world tour in September to 20 other different countries. So we go all across South America, lots of different places in Asia, and across a few key places across Europe, as a way of like bringing in. Like Italy was apparently the best event out of those. So like that's a shout out to Stroll from Monkey DAO for being able to bring that all together. So you'll see more. Like there's right now there's 9. We'll expand into more, and then even like these little pop-ups. So hopefully, no matter where you are in the world, there will be some super team event to be able to get involved with.
Amazing, some great alpha there, guys. Cap, where have you got your next trip planned to?
Well, before the we just did our last kind of like 2023 trip last week. We went to Glasgow.
I saw it as well. Looked crazy.
It's really cool to be able to go up, see the Scottish builders, what they're doing, make those connections. I was in Edinburgh for 5 years. I did my master's in economics up there at the University of Edinburgh, and then worked for a real estate company after graduating. So I have like a soft space in my heart for Scotland and Edinburgh as a whole. So previously we've done events in London, Oxford, Cambridge, and Edinburgh, but then now we've gone up to Glasgow. Going into 2024, we want to kind of like keep that theme moving forward of expanding out across the UK, not just within that London sort of like bubble that's built up, which is very much in itself like lots of talent within that space, but there's so much more talent as well across the UK. So we're looking at stuff like in Glasgow and going up further north to like your Dundees, your St Andrews, your Aberdeens, and still obviously having that good base in Edinburgh as well. But then you across England, looking at your Manchesters, your Newcastles, your Birminghams, your Exeters, Bristol, your Southamptons, or like making sure that we kind of like have that kind of full circle, or as many as we can, so that no matter where you are in the UK or in England, in Scotland, and then exactly. Like I do want to be breaking into like Ireland and like having things in Dublin and Wales and having things like Cardiff and it's one like all these other key cities across the UK, so we can get that full breadth. We'll take it one step at a time. So coming into next year, we'll have some stuff going in London in January, but then also we're looking at York and Nottingham universities, working with Dundee, and then a few other key ones that we're still lining up ahead of like the next big startup competition, the hackathon, which will happen like March, April. So we'll then for there kind of then settle in a little bit before we have more expansions going into the summer.
Brilliant, that's great to hear. And you mentioned universities there. I met you in the team recently in the summer at it was Oxford University, I believe. You were there for the day. Is universities, we've got lots of students in our community as well. Are universities somewhere that you see of high interest that you're targeting?
Oh, of course. So it's what we kind of focus on as like that kind of holistic thing of what like a super team does. It's designed as like a talent accelerator. It's designed as a way of like you're in the Web3 ecosystem where you're here to accelerate that journey. And with students, what we see is there's a lot more kind of like talent in like the freelancer sort of space, talent in like those early teams who are like, or like you're looking to get work experience, you're looking to break in, so you can support in like a lower level within like a whole Web3 team itself, which is amazing for both sides of the coin, as well as like these like kind of freelancers, bounty hunters, like people who can be completing these different challenges, social media, like content creators, people who like have grown up with social media, and so it's quite native to them, and so they're good at content creating and telling stories on the internet to their friends, and then that's like also being brand ambassadors and being able to spread messages around, find the keys. Like was obviously we want people going into these startup competitions, so being able to say hey to their developer friend, like have you seen this, or to their entrepreneurial friend, hey have you seen this, like that ambassadorship is also something which is very powerful with university students. because then different universities talk to each other, and then like so one little wildfire you can start in one university with a couple key ambassadors can then like go across that entire area as a whole. So that's like shows us that there's like real opportunity with university students to be able to bring them in, help give them that support to make their first £1,000 in Web3, to have that initial introduction to these communities, these are the people to speak to. Here's the event near you, so then you can like speak to these people in person, face to face. Here's the workshops, like here's the educational sort of onboarding to this ecosystem, and a community there to support you as you then go on that journey. So for us, we think there's a lot of value we can offer students, and so as we go forward, they're one of our main sort of audiences to be growing in and building a reputation in, as well as like your senior developers who are like 10 plus years in software development, who are just like the solopreneurs who can build something great. And then there's like proper like full Web3 teams who are already kind of brought together their co-founders, maybe a couple of early employees who are building with them, who even want to go into their pre-seed or ready to win a hackathon and go to that kind of that next level with their project.
Amazing. And can you give a shout out to one university that's really really shining through at the moment? It's got lots of builders. Have you got a favorite right now, or is that alpha that you can't drop?
Well, I would say like I'm quite a fan of how University of Surrey have just been approaching Web3 as a whole. Nice. They are very open. They're very inviting. In terms of talent, there we're still to tap into some of those key things, but from like the lecturer side. In how they've approaching things, like the team there has been lovely and accommodating to be able to help share our vision. We've done multiple events there now, from like a SOLANA AI showcase to like a Game Boy rally showcasing what different gaming projects are there, and how to be able to welcome them in. They've been running the APG meeting with at the House of Lords on like Web3 in the metaverse, and so they've also then invited us to come and join those conversations. Meetings, which is very, very nice to see that they've got that kind of attention to like Web3, but then also like built out in these connections, so that when a student comes through their university, they have the potential of like tapping into this like very high level network through just being able to speak to lecturers, and for them then to be able to like make those key connections, or for introducing to us, who have also now been able to make these key connections. So that would be one that I would shout out at this time.
No, big up University of Surrey, guys. If you get Cap's vote of approval, you're doing well. Let's head over to the next story today. So Duquan's detention in Montenegro extended by 2 months. So the co-founder here faces an extended stint in Montenegro. The High Court of Podgorica, I hope I get that right, has ruled that Quan will remain in the country until the 15th of February. So yeah, once again, this is continuing to go along, guys. Will he get to the US? God knows. We will. It seems like a bit of a long process. We're finding this with SPF, everyone else. But let's see how it goes. Hopefully, nothing happens in the meantime. Let's head over to the next news story of today. So KuCoin reaches a 22 million settlement with New York Attorney General's office. So the KuCoin will close operations in New York as part of its settlement. KuCoin has reached a $22 million settlement with the New York Attorney General's office that will see the crypto exchange also halt services for New York-based customers. According to a Reuters report, the settlement will see the lawsuit between the general office and the exchange conclude. So yeah, this is a shame for exchanges. They're having a large problem right now in the States with regulation. Cap, I imagine you're very in tune with what's going on regulation wise in the UK. How have you seen things progress with regulation, and how would you like things to play out in the long term?
Yeah, well, in the UK, the main thing that's kind of happened like recently, and that is more happening, is what the FCA are introducing in terms of like marketing and promotion laws. So right now, the biggest thing that's kind of affected any Web3 crypto sites, especially like exchanges, like KuCoin and Swissborg and all the others, is what they can promote, what they can talk about, what they post on social. It gets very expensive because there is a point where you have to have a kind of already approved regulatory body like tick approve your posts. So you have to like kind of outsource that. You have to be able to hire like an Engelbert to be able to like give you that tick of like, this can go out, this can't go out, and have a load of disclaimers on your website. A lot of like global companies have now also stopped allowing UK people to get access to certain things, because even if you've promoted something like a airdrop, even if you've just said that globally on Twitter, it's like, hey, anyone in the world can now access our airdrop, just go here and claim it, then that would get flagged as like because it's mostly focused on tokens. So anything to do with swapping, airdrops, receiving, any buying, whatever it is. NFTs are okay, but like fungible tokens in any sort of capacity, that's why exchanges get hit the most. They're limited. So even if you're a global organization, you can still get called up for that tweet, even though it went to a global audience, because global still means it affects the UK as well. And so a lot of them projects have put like geo blockers on UK people coming in, and these different sort of ways to limit that. Otherwise, if the UK is a big audience for them, they have to really adjust their strategy in terms of how they approach things. You've got to have disclaimers on the website. You've got to go for all these different wings. It came into, I think, in October. That's when I think the 5th of October, something like that. That's when it came into action. It was also the beta version. There's going to be a bigger version coming in January, which is a bit more enforceable for these sort of things. And that will be kind of the trend to do it, which in the long run isn't necessarily bad for like newbies coming in, because just like betting right now, if you want to be able to promote what you're doing, you've got to say like, when the fun stops, you stop. Like you've got to actively encourage people not to gamble in the way, and be aware and those sort of things that you traditionally see in these ads. And so you just get that same sort of thing happen with exchanges and these DeFi sort of projects. So for consumers new coming in who have no idea, they can then start clearly delineating between what is a scam and what is not, because they'll know a scam will say claim my airdrop, and something real can never say that because the regulations said they can't. So long term, it works out okay when you bring things, but obviously in the short term for those teams, they're going to have to spend a lot. They're going to have to change a lot of things in how they operate. But overall, I think it would hopefully have positive social impact as a whole, because you're going to bring new people in and they're not going to be scared off by getting rugged in a way, because they'll be able to more easily spot the rug.
And also, we're forgetting here that it's creating this, this market for crypto lawyers, for more legal assistance there. And I'm excited to see how that sector is going to flourish within crypto as well, because, we're all of us are, having to heighten, keeping up with regulation. And for this, we need legal advice often. So that we're going to see, a flurry of crypto legislation come out. Crypto lawyers come out. And it'll be interesting to see how that market, will there be the transition from Web 2 to Web 3 in that industry as such. Super interesting.
You are right there, and it's something that people don't think about enough. It's why in London, when we did our 2-week co-working space, 6 Plus, that's our build station, we had a whole day on like infrastructure, and then we invited lawyers in to have those conversations. It's where we had someone have this talk on regulation and everything, how that could be affecting people, because it's something that like founders need to be more aware of. We're moving out of the wild west of Web3 ever so slowly. And so in that means that as founders, there's like more legalities that we have to be aware of and comply with, and make sure it's very top of mind when we're starting a project. And like that's in the checklist of like when you start your project, like legal entity, speak with lawyer is one that's like massively on there. Because you also got your accountant and you've got these other key professions that every business has. But like Web3, because it's been like fast and dirty, has been able to escape away from at this point. But as things mature, we'll have to pay a lot more attention to. I think when you talk about opening new markets as well, this regulation is also very good for marketing agencies that take a different approach. Like if you host events, like that's something that a brand can still be able to sponsor and like put their name on and get that awareness within the ecosystem, because it's somebody else posting, and like they can't control somebody else posting what they say. And so you're able to have that regional sort of push within it, like potentially even for influencers as well, although they'll be a little bit more stringent because the script will kind of have to go through the regulate and have to abide by that, so they still can't have those same different sort of pushes. But an event is a good way to welcome people in and get your brand awareness out to different regions. So I can kind of see a lot of these exchanges switching their marketing strategy to one which is more people event-esque focused, maybe with influencers being to there, but kind of using that as a CTA. So rather than driving people towards go onto my decks, download the app, have that already straight there. It's more about come and join the community, be active, like a bit more of that sort of switch to be active, that member group sort of thing. Which will be interesting to see if that sort of starts to transpire, if they find that's actually a strategy that works quite well as a way to stand out across their competitors in that local region, because everybody's going to be limited. So what's going to be their differentiator? Perhaps the events could be it.
That's a super interesting way to look at it. And, I can see Solana have been putting this into work for the last year or two. I've gone to a lot of the hackathons where I've met some great builders, great founders, even people that are just they've invested in Solana or the, cryptocurrency in general, and they want to come along, check out the events. Solana put on so many great free events, and also, yourself with Superteams been putting on amazing events. And, I think you're right. People are going to have to be more creative with their marketing where the regulation comes in. And this is where, the events, the more fun side of marketing actually comes in, isn't it? It's thinking outside of the box. So I'm all for it. Let's, I'll pull over to, Superteam UK X page, guys. Make sure to go follow there. It's Superteam UK. Also written at the bottom of the banner here as well. Let's touch in on some of the events that go down in Superteam. So you were at the House of Lords on Monday, was it?
Yeah, that's one of the more interesting ones that we've slowly started breaking into. So I never knew this before I attended one. But I think the government is broken up. Obviously, you have the House of Lords where you got to get all the MPs, and they have that room where they argue and all push back against each other like children.
Did you sit in the seat?
Well, no, that's the thing. So it's not in that room, because when we're shouting at each other, it's more of a round table. So it's what they call their all-party parliamentary group meetings. So they have them across all different sort of sectors. And so this was the Web3 and Metaverse one that they've been doing for a while with Baroness Brady. So she's been the person kind of pushing and driving this forward. And that's kind of then set in a closed sort of environment. They invite speakers to come in, and then there's an audience watching, and there's that round table setup. And so I've been to one previously before, earlier on this year, and then this one was about the central bank digital currencies. The first one was about more sustainability sort of side. And so they're trying to cover these topics and go through all of these other key things that are in the ecosystem. I think my biggest takeaway here that is potentially a cool hot take is that there was a couple people that see the future as well. Actually, it's a good way to start it. I think everyone here in a Web3 space sees an interoperable future, sees where it's there's multiple chains as part of this and different bridges, and it can all then kind of work simultaneously. From their perspective, what it sounded like, a lot of them still think there's going to be one chain to win, and it's an arms race to who's going to be that chain. They perhaps don't have the education to see the wider picture, which is interesting. But then what that then relates to is that they also see the potential of there being a splitter internet, where a closed economy like a China are going to create their own internet and then run everything through that, and then have their own blockchain then to go with that. And so you would then kind of have this kind of split in the globe of the West on one internet and the East, China, and these on another internet, and then different blockchain, and then utilizing a different blockchain, and then so that's a whole other economy, tokenized, being built separately across it, which was an interesting thing that I heard, when they were start having a couple of those conversations, but between it, that it's quite. I'm keen to hear what do you imagine as that kind of a future? Can anyone in the chat, can you guys kind of see that as something that could potentially happen?
Yeah, let us know in the chat, guys. Super interesting take. I think, like Cap said, the Web3 natives of us, we see, everyone getting along, not being, There's not going to be the killer of Bitcoin, etc. Chains need other chains, bridging is going to be is still going to be a very large part of Web3 in a lot of our minds. But perhaps some of the higher up the governments don't see it like that. But it'd be interesting for the chat. What do you guys think? We've got some questions here. There was one from Christian. I can see it's been slightly answered. So, do you see the old Solana ecosystem tokens making a comeback, or is it a look into the future projects as a better hedge? This is quite a good question because, Cap, you see a lot of new projects building, but also you see a lot of founders from old projects as well. So what's your take there?
So my NFA take for these sort of things is, I suppose there's two different games, right? You got like token game and you got NFT game. I think the play for NFT game is you buy already established projects. People who kind of prove themselves, build up that reputation, known for building through the bear, like on Solana, that's like the ones that you're seeing doing well, like your Mad Lads, like your Clay Nose, like your Monkey DAOs, like all of these other like key projects who have been like consistently building and shipping things forward. As like that's like a good place to go to, rather than like there may be like 1 to 2 new ones coming through, but like it's going to be this mindset of like, is this going to be a blue chip? If it's not going to be a blue chip, I'm not going to go into it.
No.
And so utilize that for like the token sort of side. I'm more of an NFT guy. So that's why I can give a more definitive answer there. I think with tokens, the strategy is a little bit more on airdrops and utilize at least watching that space to understand where the flow of capital is kind of moving and the attention is moving on crypto Twitter and like how people are paying attention to these, because especially sort of like we're going to this new airdrop season. Like PIF just did theirs. People got like 6-figure airdrops from PIF. Like Jupiter going to do their one coming forward. A couple of the big ones named up. There's an amazing. So one of our UK projects built this really cool airdropper tool, so that you can just like chuck in your wallet. Like don't need to connect a wallet or anything, but just like put it in, and then you're able to see, are you going to count for these coming up? I hear Bonk's going to have an airdrop coming soon. Like,
like Christmas special.
And so like that, I think that's the play with tokens at the moment. If you were like strict like in choosing which ones to buy, then I would probably still go towards that NFT sort of side of like teams that have shown that they're building through the bear, they have that strong reputation, and any of them potential new blue chips coming through.
That's super interesting to hear, man. And I think I'll touch upon your point there as well, where you have to get involved in the communities, guys. That's where you're going to find the most alpha. Listening to streams like this, where you'll hear alpha going in the Telegram, the Discord groups. Super important, and be on the front line, and that's where you're going to hear the alpha. We have a question from Crypto Davo here. Is Cap called Cap because of his cap?
It's not actually because of the cap. CAF is short for captain. So when the story was that when I graduated, I actually applied to become a Royal Marine, and I would have gone up because I had my mom. I would have gone at officer level, and after 2 years become a captain. But when I passed the physical, but when I literally 2 weeks before I went for my medical, I dislocated my shoulder. I was boxing. I did a hook. It popped out. It pulled it back, popped back in. It was okay. As a kid, I could kind of do that. Like I could lie down and pop it. But for like a decade, it like never happened and never bothered me. Literally, it's like almost like the universe saying, no, not this captain. To then like take me into this other world. And so at the same time, after that, I then started finding more about Web3 and then decided that was the path I was going to go on to. So when I was like, I got to come up with my Web3 persona, Web3 name, that's where I was like, Cap would be a cool one. It was actually initially called Caponado because I was in the Solana ecosystem. I was in the Cardano ecosystem and I was exploring that. And then later on, when I was in NIR and as I was like going into Solana, I was like, actually, let me drop the Arnado and it'd just be Cap as like a stronger way to do it. But I do like, so it's short for captain, but I do like representing Cap brand with like a cap and like whenever it says there's no cap or all of these other like different
like
that. I love being able to throw it in, but it doesn't actually mean cap. It means captain.
There we go. I'm trying to scroll through here because I've got to ask you. You mentioned about boxing there, and back at Breakpoint, we had such an amazing time. I'm desperately trying to scroll back to show the guys here. Let me see if I can. Where are we? 29th of November. It's probably late October, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Also, this was the cool thing. As we do, like, we can find it. This was something that the context here of at Breakpoints, the Solana's big global conference they host each year. It was in Amsterdam, and they did a proper bonk, like what they called bonk boxing, which was like they got these inflatable things set up. I found the link. I can put it into the chat for one of the video of it.
And here we go. I've got the video. Well, here we go.
So I'll let this play so you can see what happens. But I'm fighting the German counterpart. So Chris is the leader of Superteam Germany. I'm the leader of the UK. So this was UK versus Germany.
He just brings smiles back to me just watching it again, man. So funny.
The UK, we had the energy.
We did. It was Germany versus UK. You know, it was either side. They had big numbers as well, but we were the loudest. We had the most passion. And Cat just went in there, boys. Did the work, did the job.
We did not mess around, and that is
no.
I got 2 knockdowns and took home the dub. What was very cool about this was I won $1 billion bonk. So they did this, and whoever won $1 billion bonk. At the time, that was like $600, $700. It's now like north of $5,000.
Woo! Did you hold?
I sold half when it doubled, and then I held the other half, which has now gone up. So I would have closer to $10,000, but like because I sold some, I think. But I always do like to take profits, and I'm never going to be sad about the winnings I could have had. Just grateful for the ones that I do.
Amazing. Yeah. No, always wise, guys, to take a bit of profit. Once again, not financial advice. We've got another question here. Where can we access the project that shows if we qualify for airdrops? Join CSE Plus Discord, guys. We can chat there as well. Regarding airdrops and where you can find them, etc. So yeah, I've got some more questions. Sorry, go ahead, Cap.
So the link for that as well, I put it into the chat. It's the Solana airdrop checker.solworks.dev. So that way that you just put in, like, if these are like specifically Solana ones, just put in your wallet, and then it will tell you if you've got it or not.
Awesome. Also, Cap, how can our community get involved with the UK events and becoming a member of Superteams? Even perhaps if they are in Germany and some of these other areas as well with Superteams, how can they get involved?
Yeah. Like, there's obviously everyone on Twitter. So that's always a good place to be able to start. If you don't know anybody yet, you can reach out on Twitter. Quite responsive there to be able to direct things. You also then have all the different events that will be going on. So we host all the events on Luma, so you can use that as a place to find it. I can chuck the ticket in there. And then on the website, you'll also be able to see all the other different super teams that are there at the moment. So that can be for like anyone wanting to initially break in. Attending events always the best way, and just speaking to the lead. So speaking to like the team there. If you go to an event, you'll be able to see who the leads are. They'll have the people like group there speaking to them with the one with the mic, usually. And then being able to jump into their Discord, speak to the people there. Like, it's quite easy to be able to break in, and each super team does do it slightly differently. So, for example, here in the UK, just speak to me. Find me in any way. Like, my Telegram's HeyCap. Message me. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Discord. Like, find me at an event. Like, come stalk me. Like, as long as you like get that conversation with me, that's like the best way to be able to break in, because then I like categorize and like move it around, and like we like to then have that kind of like front first. Like, when you break in, you speak to me, who's like the lead, who's the one who organizes it all, who manages the top line of it. And so that way it's the easiest way for you to then like progress into it. Each group does have a member group. So each local hub has 150 maximum people who can be a part of that member group. So that's why I like to do it as like speak to me, because I manage that group. I manage who goes in that and who stays in it. And so being able to speak with me is like, great. So let's figure out what path you're on your journey and where we can then kind of help you come in. The way we try and think about that whole journey of like beginning, knows nothing about crypto, and by the end has launched a unicorn on Solana. So there's like a very wide spectrum. And like some people don't want to be the unicorn. They want to be a freelancer or they want to be a specific talent. So there's strands off from that. But like the main line is that. So it's that kind of entrepreneurial developer creative world that you'll be like jumping into, but by being a part of a super team.
Amazing. And, you know, how did Solana first come on your radar, and what made you stick around with Solana? You know, for myself, I can say it was the community, it was these events, it was the vibes. But what's made you want to build around Solana and work with Solana and stick around?
Yeah, so I suppose I could start with my story of like Web3, because like it leads into it quite quickly. Because I only got into crypto like January 2021 is when I bought my first Bitcoin. August 2021, I bought my first NFTs on Ethereum, and then I missed the initial Solana boom that happened from where you had like that 21 bull market and things went from ETH to Sol. I missed that, so I missed like essentially the first like big push in it, and I instead went down Cardano and went into that ecosystem a little bit, played around there, but found myself in NEAR. I joined a Web3 marketing agency run by our good friends, Harry and Joel. That was Zebu at the time, now it's free. So I was lucky enough to be able to join that incredible team. They then got funded by the NEAR Foundation, got a grant to be able to launch an NFT project on that chain. And I came in as kind of leader of that project, as well as then advising and helping manage the other NFT clients that were coming through. So I then like went full deep into the NEAR ecosystem and was like, that was like all I kind of thought about from beginning of like, I suppose like the first half of 2022. That whole thing, that was like the NEAR. So I find like when Luna crashed, NEAR started tapering down. And then coming into that summer, I had to like move away from NEAR because NEAR just wasn't as like thriving. So like internally within that agency, I then worked on more other cross-chain projects. So I worked with then anyone from if you were doing something on ETH, if you were doing something on Solana, if you were doing something on NEAR, if you were doing something on Polygon and your own chain, like and a whole different sort of spectrum. And that then kind of gave me that cross thing. But then what brought me like more into Solana was when we started working with them. So we helped with their Germany launch. And so I was the point on that. So that helps. But even before then, I was the main point to go into that client as they came through, because I was breaking into the Sol ecosystem through this DAO that I'm a part of that started on NEAR and was kind of known as like the boutique project on NEAR. Was called the Boo Monsters, and build up that reputation for being like the Boogles of NEAR, for being the advisors in this, like that key group, maximum of 100, auction one by one, did 40 auctions on NEAR, and then as we know, like the NEAR came down, the average price those NFTs would sell for would be like 10K, but the average volume on NEAR at the time for all of the NFT market was like 1,000. So it was like one of our NFTs would do 10x the market, so like they wouldn't make any sense. So the DAO itself was like, where should we be going and moving towards? And more than half of that community had already been in Sol. They came from Sol to NEAR during kind of the NEAR's little bubble. Is like they're multi-chain, they wanted to explore. That NEAR does have good tech, and it was building a good community, but it built it through throwing money at project founders, and so it wasn't sustainable. And that meant that when this more market, that's why they had that kind of downfall. But Solana was still thriving because it never had that philosophy. If you try and get a grant from the Solana Foundation now, and I know because I have these conversations with a lot of people all the time, is that Solana isn't in the business of paying people to come to the chain, because it does lead to like toxic culture in the long run. It's like you want to be a part of Solana because you want to be part of that community, that culture, like what it's building there. Yeah. And so that's where, as a DAO, we were like, okay, this is then where we need to go. It makes the most sense. So when we started our auctions on Solana last January, and so that was on Exchange.art, and we had the first one at 10K, got to 17K, and then bear market kind of then tapered around like what is it now? I think it's 150 sold for price now. Yes, so about like 5K.
And so the set fixed amount now 100 as well.
Yes, although there's only 59 in the world at the moment. So they're auctioned slowly. So we still got like 41 in the bank to be auctioned later on. So that kind of
has the artwork been revealed on the 41 which haven't minted yet? Wow.
No.
Amazing.
That's
Interesting, guys. And where can they check out the Boo Monsters?
So you go boo.ventures is the website, and the Boo Monsters on Twitter. You'll be able to find it. Where we're moving towards, there's been like a lot of shifting and analyzing where is the best way we can go forward. But I think the nice way to kind of summarize what the Boo Monsters is, it's the Medici family of Web3. I saw this clip from Kanye where he was saying like he got cancelled by everybody. And he was like, so who's going to be the Medici family to let me continue creating my art? And I was like, that's actually a very nice hook for like the mission here for the DAO, which is to help build vibrant communities and to be a positive light in that. So both for developers, creatives, founders, to be just a good light in that, whether helping them advise them like how they should move forward, helping give them new tools to be able to utilize, or for artists collecting one-on-one art, like all of these different sort of ways to help support the ecosystem. And so that's what essentially Medici family did. They help give life to that renaissance in the ecosystem. Like that's the sort of like vision of what we're building towards. So that boutique group, there's obviously some very high level people in there who, apart from like teams, people from Big Brain, people from the Boogles, people from like all of these like key areas. So it's a nice diverse community, and that's what then properly brought me into Solana, was that community there and me starting to auction things on Solana and run that community and grow it in the space. And then working with Solana on their Germany launch really then got me in. And I think what's hooked me the most is what we're doing with Superteam, because I do not see any other chain doing this grassroots level to the extent that Solana's doing it with Superteam. Like I saw Polygon have tried to start to do it with their guilds, but there's nowhere near as much investment that Solana are putting into their super teams, and there's nowhere near as much like actual impact that's being made. I think Solana is very well positioned to grow, and having these local hubs gives it multiple voices across the world. So as new people come in, we want them to think Superteam, and like this is where I want to go, because this is how I can break into the industry. And where are they breaking into? Well, they're breaking into Solana ecosystem, and so we're able to benefit with that and growing it out in the long run. So that's what really cooked me. But I came in because of what I was doing with Boo.
I've got to ask as well, man. I almost forgot about this, but it's super interesting, and I'd love for our community to get involved in these as well. But you guys put on some bounties. Could you go through, kind of describe what bounties are to the community, what ones you have on at the moment or upcoming perhaps, and also once again how they can get involved?
Yeah, so the bounties is one of the key things that as a super team we center a lot of things around, because the mains, like we have the hackathon winners and the teams that we take through the startup competitions as some of our like main KPIs. But then the other main metric that we're looking at is called community GDP. Community GDP is essentially the value we've given to the ecosystem. So that's the amount of bounties, that's the amount of grants, that's the amount of help jobs we've got people got, like all of these other different ways we're giving value to the ecosystem. And so with bounties, this is like a big area that we do. There's kind of two main types of bounties people can get involved in. There's like the cash ones where you can be earning cash, and there's also XP ones. So the cash ones you can all find on earn.superteam.fun. That could be anything from running a DLI Twitter thread on a project to building a mini dApp to being able to create some SDK or write a content series. Could be anything. Like that. It's an open sandbox, and we're actively taking requests. So if you have anything that you think would be a good bounty, let us know, and we can be able to help organize that. And so that's open to anybody. So anyone can go into this platform as even like a project and sponsor one of these bounties. So Foundation does a lot. If you go to earning.superteams.fun, you'll see the sponsor tab. Like Foundation's at the top with 1.6 million invested into these different sort of activities. But you're seeing people like Wormhole and Bonk start to come through and giving more and more opportunities to people there. And so that's a great space to get those paid ones where you can get like quick cash. And one of the key things that we say to people, if you're new to Web3, go here, see what you can be able to do, because earning that money is like a big indicator and a big sort of pool to get in. But then it was also, if you're more of a founder mindset, there's tons of grant opportunities on there as well. From like in the UK, we have these Insta grants, so you can get up to 10K to fund some sort of public good being created. There's like developer tooling grants. There's if you're doing talks or mini events, there's different like micro grants for those as well. So there's lots of different ways for you to not only earn from on that platform from the bounties, but these grants as well. And then the last little thing on the bounties, those XP ones. This is something we use to offer like very unique experiences to our community. So, for example, in like the XPs, like first of all, it's all on Discord. Just jump into Discord and you'll be able to start. Just go to the XP bounties tab. You can start earning straight away. It's small little things like liking, retweeting, being able to apply for something. All of those sort of basic things. Again, open to suggestions. What you guys want bounties to be. But for us, that's just a way of like rewarding our active community members. And then off the back of that, you accumulating your XP. We do these mini competitions. So in August, whoever got the most, we flew out to Berlin with us. And they went to the SOLANA Hacker House. And that was Mike Jagger who won that one. Amazing experience. We then won it again.
Shout out to Mike.
Yes, we love Mike. He was our host on our build station as well. So he's been a big part of what we've been building. And then in September, we did it again. And whoever won, we flew out to Amsterdam with us for Breakpoint and was with us for that whole week. So that was Cecilia Wolf. She was able to win this. Cecilia Wolf. Amazing stuff.
Out again.
That we saw. And we love her. Always brings the good vibes. And for us, we're going to continue being able to do these. Even like looking at like how XP can be like a way for you to buy merch, buy tickets. We can do raffles. So we can and that's what we did before for like ZB Live tickets and even Breakpoint tickets as well. We would then host a raffle and you buy tickets using your XP points to be able to do that. So you get free tickets essentially from earning these. And then we're also going to be like adding in merch and stuff. So you can like have like the XP store and you can buy like a t-shirt, you can buy like a cap. You can get these kind of like unique things and we'll do like limited stock only ideas. So it's like you've got to be on the ball, have your XP ready to go, and then be able to jump into it to make sure it doesn't sell out. And so there's lots of cool things that we can start to do with that XP as well. But then there's that cash bounties as well, just like quick instant. Like, there we go.
Awesome, guys. You heard it here first. There's so much to get into. Lots of stuff to get involved. Whether you're just an investor trader, interested in Solana, or if you're wanting to build a project, head over to Superteams UK. Cap's a man. If you need any help getting in touch, reach out to myself as well. But yeah, it's been a super interesting stream today, Cap. Really insightful. I'd love to have you back on again. Thanks for coming. I know you're super busy. If you could drop just one little bit of alpha for our group, what should they do in the short term? Should they head to these events? What should they be looking forward to? Let's leave them with a nice positive note. And guys, show some love to Cap in the comments. It's been a really interesting stream. But yeah, Cap, please, if you could drop a bit of alpha for our group.
I would say it's not alpha because everyone already knows it, but I'm gonna say it again so people know it. But it's your network is your net worth, especially as you go more into the bull market. You want to know the key people who are in the space, and you don't know who's gonna accelerate and go to that next level. So being very mindful of who you're speaking with, who's in your network, and then actively trying to grow that. So that's where the events come in, being able to go those, like being active on Twitter, engaging with other people, like these other micro ways to still get attention. Like before I joined the DAO, I would comment on each post, like boo. I use that to get notoriety. So when I joined in, they already kind of knew me. And I kind of like saw me around because they've clicked on my profile, saw what I did, probably give me a follow. Then was able to kind of see those updates as they go forward. So even that subtle way of building out your network is very powerful. But meeting them in person gives that whole next level. Utilize Telegram as best as you can. I think in terms of like having folders, having things structured, like these are the people I need to be speaking to. If you're getting really good, have like a whole database, like who you'd be networking with, contacts on like when you met them.
That's
like,
the real estate in you, isn't it? Having a list of everyone.
And it's something that we're doing more now as well, so we could be more efficient. But that's 100% like when I was in the, because before I came with you, I was in a real estate industry, so I would go to these network events and I would have to like keep that notebook on like who I spoke to, who they are, because you never know. You have a deal come up, you just blast it out, and you never know who's going to do that. And even just like subtle ways of being able to customize it to individual people, understanding them. Like there's a great book on how to make friends and influence people. I'd recommend people read as a way of being able to break in, like understand that like way to build your network. So you agree with the fact that network is your net worth. So now the question is like, how do you build your network? And a lot of it's being friendly and like making friends, being organized and remembering their name, knowing their birthday, remembering that it was their kids' Hanukkah event in the next week, and checking. I was like, how did that go? Was that all good? And like those small little things help you build those friendships. And that's ultimately what your network should be. Because then when you want to essentially ask for something, and you're saying, hey, let's do something, they're open to it because you're not like getting them to do it. It's like it's a friend coming forward, which is that's when you like your network is powerful, is when you have all of these high net worth friends.
Amazing. Guys, what an awesome live stream it's been today. Some great alpha, some great insight from Cap. One of the most friendly guys, one of the most ambitious guys in the ecosystem. Make sure to go give him a follow. Go give Superteam UK a follow. Obviously, follow Crypto Saving Expert as well. But guys, it's been a great stream. I'm going to see you tomorrow live with Danielle Lucan's Crypto Crush. Lots of technical analysis and some more insight from another big name in the industry. So thanks, guys. Have an awesome day. Let's go.
Woo. Cheers, everyone. LFG.